everyone, my name is Ella Klein, and welcome to my speech titled The In-N-Out Fiasco. The helplessness that I feel when I lose something that I own always infuriates me, and for good reason. When you find yourself in Sacramento's public spaces, even in broad daylight, you should keep a constant eye on your belongings. This helps stop unwarranted crime and you becoming a victim before it can even happen. By being prepared through having a mental checklist and being aware at all times and having a plan of action, all of these things can dramatically improve your life by minimizing the inconveniences you would have otherwise faced when you find yourself in Sacramento's public areas. So here's what happened to me. Due to my unfortunate experience, I understand that being unprepared can change your entire day. So one day, my friend and I, we were eating at an In-N-Out in Sacramento. We sat down, and considering that we had just come from volleyball practice, we were both starving. I scarfed down my plain burger and my regularly salted fries in no time. We enjoyed our lunch and we just sat and caught up with one another and talked about everything that we wanted to. And we didn't have a care in the world. However, as we started to get up to leave, that's when I noticed it. An empty space in my pocket where my keys should have been. Panicked, I rushed outside to my car to try and find my keys. And I noticed the missing keys sitting on the center console of my car, taunting me from inside where I couldn't reach them. Immediately, I had a plan of action. I called my brother and I begged him to come meet me at this In-N-Out and bring me the spare key so that I could get into my car. Luckily, my brother likes me enough to drop whatever he was doing and come drive over immediately to give me that spare key. I'm grateful because so much could have happened in the time where I was unaware and wasn't in possession of my keys. We're all familiar with the drop in our stomach that we feel when we lose something. Super similar to what I felt when I realized my keys were missing that one day at that dreaded In-N-Out. You can see how important it is to prevent unnecessary burdens, especially when they can be easily avoided by taking a few simple actions. One of these actions that you can take is to have a mental checklist. According to the publication Checking All the Boxes, a checklist for when and how to use checklists effectively, checklists are a type of cognitive aid that assists with task performance, and they've even been adopted as an important safety intervention throughout many high-risk industries. So if high-risk industries, including medical fields, often use checklists as a way to be prepared and prevent mistakes, then why can't we? If high-risk industries such as medical industries can reap the benefits, then every individual, by having a mental checklist, would be able to also reap those benefits. If I had had a mental checklist that day of all of my belongings, I would not have left my keys locked inside my car. Before even getting out of the car, I probably would have thought to myself, do I have my keys on me? Do I have my wallet? Do I have anything of importance with me that I need to take with me inside to eat? If I had had that mental checklist, I am sure that I would not have left my keys inside the car. A second step that can be taken is to be aware of your surroundings at all times. The textbook Stand Up, Speak Out, The Practice and Ethics of Public Speaking supports the fact that people should be aware of their surroundings. One term that's discussed in the textbook is frame of reference. Frame of reference is when you're speaking, being aware of your audience needs. Is your audience more sensitive to some matters? Are they more lighthearted? Are they laughing at your jokes? Being aware of what your audience is feeling at all times helps with the speech. This connects. This relates to being aware in public situations because it's always beneficial to know what's happening in front of and around you, whether you're giving a speech or you're walking through a parking lot of an In-N-Out. A third step that can be taken is to have a plan of action in worst case scenarios. According to the book titled When Bad Things Happen to Good Organizations, How Effective Managers Prepare for Crisis, it's super important to plan for a crisis ahead of time if possible, and to have a strategy ready to activate should a crisis happen. My first thought when I saw my keys trapped inside my car was, what can I do to get home? And what can I do to get my keys back into my hands? My strategy that I implemented was to call my brother to ask for help and then wait for him to arrive. By immediately enacting a plan and a strategy, I was able to minimize the damages that occurred that day. If I didn't have a plan of action once I realized things had gone wrong, I probably would have been at that In-N-Out for way longer than necessary. And so hopefully all of these points and my story have led you to the same conclusion as me. It always pays to be prepared. And so in conclusion, you can make a huge difference in your life if you set a mental checklist, if you remain aware at all times, and if you have a plan of action in worst case scenarios. So to wrap this up, taking a few simple steps is really all it takes to prevent wrongdoing. Since that day at that dreaded In-N-Out, I have been taking my own advice. I have been extra careful, and I've had that mental checklist, and I've been aware of my surroundings, and because of that, I have not since lost my car keys again, thankfully. And so to reiterate, when you find yourself in these Sacramento public spaces, even in broad daylight, it is super important to keep a constant eye on your belongings in order to stop that unwarranted crime and those unnecessary inconveniences before they can even happen. I simply want to save you all from the helplessness and the embarrassment that I felt wash over me that day when I saw my keys staring back at me from the center console. If we were all just a little bit more mindful, we could save ourselves the trouble of feeling so vulnerable in these moments. Thank you so much for listening to my speech. And these are my resources. Thank you.